Good morning. Welcome to the Rogers Wright Show. I don't know if you saw my post yesterday, but it was about a book called The Invisible Coup. And I personally never heard of this other than a personal story that was actually told to me probably about 15 years when I used to live in San Diego, maybe even longer than that. But what The Invisible Coup is about is it's about using immigration as a weapon. And in my Uber travels back in the day, I used to pick up a lot of people at the border or at the airport. And I'm guessing, it might have been right around when Donald Trump was thinking about running for president the first time. And this gentleman asked me, what I thought. And we got into a very good conversation. And he was a Mexican citizen. And he told me that it is a well-known, we'll call it secret, in Mexico that they want to take back the entire Southwest that they lost in a war and then were subsequently paid for. They think it's all Mexico. And right now, there are actually several members of the Mexican Congress that live in the United States, and they actually promote this where they live. And you could find this information in a news story that the author of The Invisible Coup did the other day. Now, there's also other uses of using immigration as a weapon, and the United States has been a victim of this before. In the 80s, Cuba they let them go, right? They don't let people go in Cuba, right? They at all costs, they'll kill you. They try to leave. But they emptied their prisons and their bad guys. It's about 120,000. They sent them all to Florida. And Jimmy Carter let them all in and said, we're going to embrace them because, they were from a communist country. Now, did that work out? Probably better for a lot of people, but did some bad people come in? Well, sure. Yeah, they did. Turkey is another country that constantly uses the threat of weaponization of immigration by, let's say, we'll open our borders to the EU if you don't do what we want you to do. Belarus did the same thing in 2021. They opened their border and let a bunch of people sneak into the EU. Russia also uses it as a tool against European nations. So the threat is real. And if you're thinking about you've got 20 million people in our country, maybe a little bit less, maybe a little bit more, a lot of them were all single men. And you have representatives from Mexico living in the United States promoting the cause. Something to think about. Why do Democrats want that? They want to count people here illegally in the census? There's definitely something sinister there.